mean Wheel of Fortune?
I'm talking about.
All right, I need to rebound from.
So true. So true. Yesterday, we got to tell John Ashmead what happened. Ashmead's in studio, missed yesterday's show. Yeah, Dibbs had one of the worst performances in Quiz the Dibbs. Now, granted, it was hard. I mean, there was a lot of rookie cards, and this is your 1990s score set.
Dude, I had no idea who they were.
Word to the wise, if you want some rookie cards, do the blue ones. Seems like the blue ones are a bunch of no-namer rookies that don't really stick. Now, one guy did get at us as a show and sent us an email crying, tears rolling down his face. Mike Wrestler. It's like,
Just think of wrestling.
I was supposed to be the fourth nasty boy. And then
First of all, Mike was way too nice.
they got rid of me, and then I said, don't forget about me, guys. And then the Simple Minds song was playing in the background, and I walked away, and they said, we miss you, man. We'll never forget. And then Rob totally forgot who the hell he was yesterday. And
Dude, I
one.
played with hundreds of guys. I apologize. I missed one.
Now, difference today, and I have heard from listeners, they like it when they know the answer too.
And I don't, or
No,
they know the answer.
Even if you do, but they like some of them, they're like, I have no idea who the hell this is, and I watched a lot of baseball in the 80s and 90s. So
I think we're the only show that does this, by the way. I don't think there's too many shows like get a football player. Make that guy start going back and through his past, because I've been retired for 30 years.
True. Now, there's a difference there, Dibbs. Now, if you're new to the Rob Dibble Show, I've never been a part of a Quiz the Dibbs. We do this specifically to Rob because he is a baseball
does this
player.
to torture me.
And we're trying to get him to remember, which he has a great memory, only for baseball stuff, which most baseball people do. It's just weird, man. I've been around college coaches, and you see something in their record like, oh, man, what happened with this game that was a tie? It was April 26th, I do believe. It was an early night, and we ran out of light. And I was trying to tell guys we're throwing fastballs, and it was a 2-2 count, and a guy hit one right there, it's kept the game going. And then all of a sudden, we got a call tie. It's like, how do you remember every little thing, every little intricacy? So baseball people, baseball men, they have this innate ability, and I think it's because of the game. Football people do not. You know why? Hitting the head a lot.
Yeah, they've been they stopped a lot of other players with their head.
Been dinged up.
To give you an example of how mechanically unintelligent I am, we're trying to turn the sprinklers on at my house.
Yeah.
And I turn the water on for the sprinklers and turn the water off in the house. So my wife goes to flush the toilet today. She's like, I can't flush the toilet. What'd you do? I'm like, I just hit two different valves. And so I had to call my brother, who, by the way, was on a nuclear sub. He's like, well, valves do this and valves do that. I'm like, dude, I have no idea. You're making my head hurt. Just tell me how to turn the water on for both places. And I finally figured it out, but I needed help.
If it was like a slider on the left side to turn water
I could
off,
and I could teach it to a kid, by the way.
On the right side, yeah.
That's why I love coaching, because when somebody does it, I'm thrilled. Now, not for me, for them, that I actually was able to do something, accomplish something.
So true. Now, this is an impressive feat that you have, especially with guys that are a little bit more known than what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we really dipped into the 400 level with the blue cards. Now,
but you did do my teammates, though, like Hal Morris and guys that I didn't actually know Hal played games in the big leagues for the Yankees.
Sometimes Dibbs learns something.
I know. I thought he just came right out of the minor leagues from the Yankees right to the Reds.
So I pulled out of the Red stacks today, and I feel like I pulled nothing but Hall of Famers. Nothing.
I might have a chance here.
I do think you got a great chance. And starting with the first card, I would consider him one of your favorite baseball players.
Hank Aaron.
Not Hank Aaron, and maybe I should have said one of your favorite baseball pitchers of all time.
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, that's the one. Nolan Ryan, I pulled this out, man. I was just looking at the years. Mets, Angels, Astros. 73 was like a monster year. Not the best in wins, but 383 strikes to just 150 walks. But unreal.
And here's the thing.
And a lot of CGs. Nothing but complete games. Wait, you need glasses?
Talk for a second. I got to get my glasses.
All right.
I can't read that.
So Nolan Ryan, obviously Dibbs' favorite guys in the history of baseball. But the other thing I'll notice about Nolan, I have to ask Dibbs about this too, like a lot of these baseball cards, you usually, and I'll show you a guy at the end, but you usually have like a guy reaching back and like giving it the pitch face, which we talked earlier in the week. This dude holds it. And maybe talk about this.
He had a leg kick where he tucked his leg up under his chin. He's also, he was a cattle rancher, and he's one of the strongest guys you ever want to meet. For every hour on a baseball field, he spent 2 in the gym, like squatting, doing stuff like that. And then on top of it, Tom Brady's throwing coach was his pitching coach, Tom House. And so mechanically, this guy pitched almost till he was 50. I wanted to get the innings pitched, though, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
1973. Let's go to 72. 72, Nolan Ryan, when he became a full-time starter, because with the Mets, he was actually out of the bullpen.
Right, so he's an angel in 72.
And just like Sandy Koufax had some command issues first because he threw so hard, but he didn't have something really great to go with it. When he developed that curveball that was unhittable, it was 12 to 6 o'clock, was just absolutely ridiculous. This is how he got almost 6,000 strikeouts. But that 1 year in 72, this is insane. 284 innings pitched. 329 strikeouts. The next year, like you talked about, 73.
That's insane. That's more than 2 strikeouts an inning almost.
326 innings pitched. But think about this: 41 games started. He had 26 complete games.
Right. That's the one I kept seeing.
326 innings pitched. He only allowed 238 hits, which is ridiculous, and 283 strikeouts. Do you know what your arm must have felt like at the end of the year there?
And I don't
think he could wipe his butt.
But he didn't have much run support either. Just like the wins.
Oh, no, the Angels were trash
The
back
wins
then.
and losses are not impressive.
Oh, no, God. So 19, 16, 21 and 16, 22 and 16, 14, 12, 17 and 18. So he was like a 500 pitcher. But that's not his fault. He got traded from the Mets to the Angels. It was a huge trade back then because the Mets did not think he was the future. They brought, exactly. So think about that.
The Mets.
And then I came across him with the Astros in the late 80s when he was in his 40s. When he was in his 40s, he was still throwing upper 90s, was still throwing complete games. I mean, think about this. Over the course of his career, 213 complete games. You will never have a guy complete 100 games again. In fact, I think Roger Clemens, if my memory serves me, completed 117 games and won 354. So think about this guy. So you had some turds that were saying, well, he was a 500 pitcher. Yeah, because back then the Angels were horrible. The Astros were not good.
You didn't have free agency.
No, you didn't. So this guy, this guy, until the mid 70s, where you now could go team to team, and he went to the Astros and then finished with the Rangers. But going back to those years, 284 innings pitched, 326, 333, hurt his arm, 198. After he hurt his arm, 284. This is innings pitched. 299, 235, 223, 234, 250 1 year, 232 when he was in his 40s, 211 in his 40s, 220 and 239, all in his 40s.
Unreal.
No one can throw 200 innings anymore. And if we get to 175, that guy's a monster. That guy's a workhorse. No, that guy's not a workhorse. That guy is a Kentucky Derby horse. A workhorse is like a plow horse, like this guy. And then go watch the video of Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. Robbie was my teammate on the White Sox. I still love Robbie. I got to get him back on the show. Does not like to talk about this. Nolan's big thing was he drilled a lot of people. He did not like you to watch home runs. He did not like you to bunt on him. There's a lot of stuff he didn't like. Like Bob Gibson, like a lot of those guys back then, they didn't like you to dig in the dirt, like dig in. Like, I'm going to get a good at bat right here against Nolan. You'd get one right in the ribs. You literally get 95 in the rib cage where he wanted to bust your lung. And so Robin Ventura was like, he walked up to the plate and he goes, if he hits me, I don't want to, but I'm going to charge the mound. And everybody's like, and Bo Jackson's on his team. Don't do it. Dude, Nolan's strong. Don't charge the mound. He might hurt you. And Robin's like, I got to do it, man. I'm going to charge the mound. So Nolan hits him. Robin Ventura charges the mound.
He thinks about it.
Now, Nolan, he wrestles cattle like this. He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
He wrestles cattle on his ranch in the offseason. He gets Robin Ventura in a headlock like a cow. And just starts like giving him nuggies. He could have really hurt him, but he just like was giving him like noogies, like almost like in his hair. And then on top of it, now everybody collapses on Nolan. Now remember, he's in his 40s. Okay, this is I think he's 46. Bo Jackson, you could see the video. Bo Jackson is at the bottom of the pile trying to help Nolan not get hurt. That's why I love Bo Jackson.
I
Bo
did not
knew
see this. Okay,
there's an older player that could be injured here, and we're not going to be the team that does it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Bo Jackson is, dude, he's monster.
All right, let John show the people this Nolan card.
This Nolan. But no,
that one might be worth $1.25.
There's another one where I just saw this. I don't know who hits the ground ball, but it hits him right in the mouth. And Nolan's bleeding profusely. Stays in the game the whole game. Completes the game with a bloody mouth. I mean, listen.
We need people
He's
like this,
legendary for being a tough guy, but he was also a soft-hearted guy. And even at the end of his career, I think like the last 5 years, they were like, listen, in between starts, he flew home to his ranch. He didn't even travel with the team because he was like, listen, I'll pitch for you, but I'm really done being a baseball player. I can't travel. I want to be with my family. And so he's honestly, he was my idol. My son's name is Ryan Lee, after Nolan Ryan and Lee Smith. Two of my favorite players, and I could go on all day about Nolan.
I don't think you named anyone after this guy, and I don't think he's one of your favorites either. Now, in this 1990 scorecard, he is with the Astros, who I think are in your division at this time. He is catching at this time, but a lot of people know him as a second baseman.
Craig Biggio? He was an all-star with me in 91 as a catcher, but he started as a second baseman. And then he went to center field.
Yeah.
And he falls up Tal's Hill. Yeah. Remember we talked about that the other day? So, yeah, listen, this dude was unbelievable, but he was the fifth best player on his team. And it's not, listen, I love him. He's a Hall of Famer. God bless him. But, dude, you had Ken Caminiti, Glenn Davis in that lineup. You had just monster players on those teams that we used to have to try to get out, and making it seem like he was like the heart of that lineup. You had Bagwell, you had Jeff Bagwell was on that team. I had faced those dudes 19 times a year. We played them, and it was murderer's row. Literally was murderer's row. I mean, there was guys in that lineup that Luis Gonzalez. It was just like one Kevin Bass. It was one hammer after another, and it was like, okay, Dibbs, go in the game. Forget you, Lou. I don't want to face these guys. These guys are stupid good. They were really good.
All right, this is I would say one of my most underrated faves. As far as I think he's underrated. He still is one of the greatest. Center fielder, you got a little bit of time with this guy. He was a Brewer from 74 until 89, or even beyond this. It's just this card goes to 89. That's why. But he was, I think he can probably walk through Milwaukee and never have to buy a beer ever
Robin
again.
Yount.
Robin Yount. Tell me about Robin Yount, man.
This is a wild man.
I've seen him hit a game-winning home run against the White Sox.
First of all, he looks like George. He looks like General Custer.
Yes.
He's got long hair. He's got a raggedy mustache. He is like Evel Knievel. This dude lived in Arizona, and all he did was ride motorcycles when he wasn't playing baseball.
I've never seen him speak.
Oh, no.
Never seen him.
He was awesome. So here was my time. I spent 3 months in Milwaukee. I wish I would have spent, 3 years because one of my favorite teams. I got to go, my ex-wife didn't go to Milwaukee with me, so I was alone. Mike Fetters and I became best friends, and we would literally sit in the back because it was a dry team. No alcohol, no cigarettes, no nothing in the clubhouse. Sal Bando, Phil Garner were tough as nails guys, but they were good Christian guys. They're like, you're not drinking. You're just not drinking. So anyway, we'd go in the back, and it was Bob Uecker, Robin Yount, Gantner, Gorman Thomas, and we're all sitting there just listening to their stories, having a few beers and laughs and stuff. I could have died and gone to heaven because that was the greatest 3 months of my life because those guys were unbelievable. The stuff they used to talk. Uecker is one of the funniest and one of the greatest storytellers. Obviously, if you don't know about Bob Uecker, he was one of Johnny Carson's favorite guests. Yeah. I think he appeared like 280 times on Johnny Carson Tonight Show because Johnny just loved, and he wasn't a great baseball player. He was an okay baseball player. He's a Hall of Fame broadcaster. He was an actor. He was Mr. Belvedere. He was in Major League. But, dude, when you're sitting there with, like, Robin Yount and Gantner and all of these cats and Gorman Thomas, who had a rib place there, and it was just like I was like a puppy. I was literally like, this is awesome. And Mike Fetters and I used to just kind of like nudge each other like, dude, we get to sit here and listen to these guys.
Robin Yount kind of looks like Larry Bird a little bit.
He does.
Larry Bird played basketball. And he also looks like Bernie Brewer, the actual mascot
he looks like
of the Brewers.
Larry Bird is a great comparison.
Yeah.
If there's like a cast, from Hollywood of a Midwestern superstar athlete that kind of looks like a nerd dork.
Yes.
That was Robbie. That was Larry Bird. Those guys definitely, not pretty to look at, but dude, could that guy play baseball?
All right, let's kick it up a notch, get into a little 300 level here and go to the AL. Another center fielder from the Oakland A's in number 42 here. Yes,
Dave Henderson.
Golly.
Well, it's an odd number for a guy.
Because 42 is retired across the league.
And Hondo, this dude, you look up hot dog in the dictionary.
Not Ricky Henderson. This is Dave.
This is
Henderson.
Dave. Dave played for the Red Sox.
90 again.
90, yeah.
So
He played
just left
for the
Red
Sox,
Sox
yep.
at that point.
But he banged around a little bit, played with the Mariners. This is one of the coolest cats. When I was in the minor leagues, I loved this dude.
Really?
Oh, dude, he'd hit a home run and he's grabbing his jersey. Ricky Henderson stole that from him.
Really?
So Dave Hondo, it was his nickname. He did that first. He just didn't hit as many as Ricky.
I love this.
No, but he hit a good one against the A's in the ALDS, I want to say.
Or was it the Angels? Was it
Sox Angels?
I think it was the Angels, and that's why Donnie Moore took his own
88,
line.
88, 89, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Because of a Henderson home run? Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know. God, we learned a lot here in the last 5 seconds with Dave Henderson. All right, here's an easy one, I think. This one just popped in my hand.
And I don't want to blame that on the suicide, by the way. There was a lot of stuff that was troubling about him at the end, but...
This is a catcher from the Chicago White Sox. Do I need to say
Carlton
any
Fisk.
more? God. Yeah, Carlton.
No. Number
look
72.
Look at the back of that sucker, though. Look at these stats.
This guy. So one of the best things that I've done in my life in this career was at the I get chills, man, thinking about this. I was covering the All-Star game for ESPN in Bristol and got to sit there and interview Carlton Fisk. And dude, you want to talk about one of my idols growing up, and because they used to do, Kurt remembers this. They used to do commercials. Remember, he used to be in the woods with an axe, cutting down like trees and stuff. He's like a New Hampshire guy. Yeah, but this is a woodsman.
I never knew this.
Oh, dude,
really?
Growing up here,
he is a woodsman.
Yeah, so he's like a woodsman. He's like a backwoods country boy, like a New Englander, and just they used to do. And now I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying these are the commercials they used to throw out there when I was a kid. Like, and he was like Paul Bunyan. And then he hits that home run in the mid-'70s and stuff. So I'm like a kid, man. I'm like 10 years old, and I'm watching this guy play
That's
ball.
50 years this year.
I know. And dude, so like I told you, 75, 76, the Reds, if I hadn't said that, I haven't said this on the air, the Reds are having a reunion. Johnny Bench, I had dinner with him the other night. He told me this story. So the 75, 76 teams will be back in Cincinnati this summer in June.
Hell yeah.
So if I don't know what the exact date is, I'll get it from Johnny, and we'll have Johnny on to talk about it and stuff like that. But they've lost a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys have passed and left us. And so, but that dude is just unbelievable. He caught like 2,500 games. He was as good with the White Sox as he was the Red Sox. You talk about play until you're 40.
That was a mistake to unload.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, that's like Paul O'Neill going to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think the last one maybe because we got to get to Dan Luss coming up, but this is this is the toughest one of the bunch. Outfielder number 16, Milwaukee Brewers, and he was a Brewer for a little while. 85 and through this 89 card. Not much of a hitter, so if you faced him, I think you got him a bunch. 240 was his average, and not much home run power either. Tremendous speed, utilized it well for the Brewers in 89 as a pinch hitter, pinch runner, DH, utility outfielder. Hamstring problems slowed him down in 88, and he only played 50 games.
I have no idea, man. They had spring training in Arizona. I have no idea who is it.
Mike Felder?
Mike Felder.
Felder, do you know this man?
I do not. I know Mike. Good dude.
That was a tough one.
That was a tough one. Thanks.
That's one of the bunch.
You stumped me.
Oh, this is the best one, though. I can't believe this card jumped out at me, and I haven't seen this yet because we've went through, probably 200s of these score set cards yet, but this guy is really reaching back, this relief pitcher. Oh, my gosh. What do they say about him?
Is that me?
His fastball has been clocked close to 100 miles per hour, simply blown batters away. As the best middle reliever in baseball, he was the ideal setup man for the hard-throwing closer John Franco in 1989. Here's the quote. "He's really interesting and intense," said an NL scout. As a rookie, Rob struck out 59 batters in 59.1 innings. Check out the torque that you got.
Yeah.
You're so far back.
No, I mean,
man.
listen, I landed.
Pitch face?
Big time pitch face. But it's a profile.
I was a grunter too.
Yeah.
I was a grunter.
Put everything
Yeah,
in
I was 6'4", 230, man. It all went into the throwing it as hard as I could.
Yeah.
As Peter Gammon said, I could throw through a car wash and it wouldn't get wet.
I love that.
I know.
I love that. That's the best.
I did love that, but no, yeah, I'm getting out over the leg. See this form though? You're getting your chest out over your front foot, and then
your
releasing
plant foot is hitting way before you release.
I know. Well,
that's good though, right?
No, you want to release the ball when your foot hits.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's what I teach. I didn't follow my own advice, but yeah.
Well, you're in the mix in the red group, man. I mean, the red group has got Nolan Ryan, it's got Craig Biggio, it's got Carlton Fisk. You were only like 4 or 5 cards behind them, so yeah. You got that 1990s
I had that spring training mullet working. Nice. That's the picture on the back.
Hell yeah.
But see, that's during the season where Marge probably was on my butt and said, "Get 49. Get him to get his haircut." She never knew my name.
Really?
She used to always say 49. I've told this story before. I know we got to go.
Called you Robbie and Baby.
She did once she found out I went to her church. We were.
That's what
Catholic,
won you over.
Catholic, so.
Awesome.
Anyway, I was every home game. The relievers usually had to do this: go up on the mezzanine level and sign autographs.
Right.
I'm in my game jersey because the game's going to start in 30 minutes, and she's right behind me. And she saw my hair was long, and this is when Pete was the manager in '88 when I came up. She goes, "Tell 49 to get his hair cut. His hair's too long." I'm like,
unreal.
It's Dibble, right at eye level, right where her eyes were.
Yeah, it's right below the line.
Tell Dibble to get his hair cut.
And your jerseys had big letters.
Yeah,
the
giant. Like even if she was like half in the bottle, she could have read that name. So yeah, all right. Dan Lust is next. We're gonna have some fun with Dan. It's the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive.